Today, let us have a discussion on coagulation of blood. Our topic is coagulation of blood. Before discussing about the coagulation of blood, we must have a clear idea about some terminologies, that is platelet plug formation, platelet plug formation, while the other one is platelet adhesion, while the other one is platelet activation, while the other one is platelet aggregation, and next one is secondary platelet plug formation, secondary platelet plug formation, while the other one is thrombus, while the other one is clot. Before discussing about the coagulation of blood, a student has to have clear idea about platelet plug, what is platelet plug, and platelet adhesion, and platelet activation, and platelet aggregations, and secondary platelet plug formations, and thrombus and clot. Now, if we discuss, let us consider our cardiovascular system. Let us consider this is our cardiovascular system which is functioning normally, and here in this, as we know that there is a blood which is flowing here. Let us consider this is a blood which is flowing in the cardiovascular system. Now, the blood which is present in our cardiovascular system is present in liquid form. So, our blood is present in liquid form in normal conditions. Now, if there is any injury happened in this area, let us consider if there is any injury. Let us consider if there is any injury in this area. Now, in place of injury, there will be accumulation of semi-solid materials. There will be accumulation of semi-solid materials. So here, the semi-solid materials will get accumulated at the surface of injury and will result in formation of a clot and will prevent the flow of blood from this area. So, as we discussed that the blood which is present in blood vessels is present in liquid forms, but if there is any injury, this liquid form will get converted into semi-solid form. Now, what is definition of coagulation means? Our topic is coagulation of blood. So we must know what is coagulation means. Coagulation is a, before discussing about the coagulation, this coagulation is property of plasma. It is property of plasma. It is the characteristic feature of a plasma, or it is a property of plasma. So, what is the definition of coagulation means? Coagulation is a property of plasma in which soluble fibrinogen will get converted into insoluble fibrin. That is, soluble fibrinogen will get converted into insoluble fibrin. The process of conversion of soluble fibrinogen into insoluble fibrin is called coagulation. Coagulation is a process in which soluble fibrinogen is converted into insoluble fibrin. This is the definition of coagulation. So, before discussing about the coagulation, a good student should remember why the blood which is present in our bloodstream is in liquid form. So, let us discuss about why the blood which is present in our blood vessels is in liquid form. Now, first let us discuss about the blood which is present in our bloodstream, why it is present in liquid form. Let us consider these are the basal membranes and these are the endothelial cells. These are basement membranes and these are the endothelial cells. Let us consider this is one blood vessel and this is normal blood vessel and these are the endothelial cells. The normal blood vessel is antithrombotic in function. Let us discuss why the normal blood vessel is in normal blood vessel the blood flow is in liquid form. Now, in normal conditions, these endothelial cells which are present on basement membrane will release special chemicals like they release prostaglandins, which are also called prostacyclins, and they release nitric oxide and they release ADH-D phosphatase. ADH-D phosphatase. These are the three chemicals which are released from the endothelial cells, that is normally functioning endothelial cells. Now, these prostaglandins, nitric oxide and ADH-D phosphatase enzymes which are released from the endothelial cells. Now, what is the function of these prostaglandins is, let us consider one platelet. This is one platelet. This is one platelet. Now, whenever these prostaglandins, nitric oxide and ADH-D phosphatase is released from the healthy endothelial cells, these platelets will be activated on these prostaglandins and will be repelled out. They will be repelled out. In this way, these prostaglandins, nitric oxide, ADH-D phosphatase will inhibit the binding of these platelets to the endothelial cells. So these prostaglandins, nitric oxide and ADH-D phosphatase are called antiplatelet agents. These are called antiplatelet agents. because they will inhibit the binding of these platelets to these endothelial cells, so they will inhibit the formation of platelet plug formations. In this way, this is one method, and these why these platelets do not get activated and they do not stick to the endothelial cells, because they have special receptors on surface of platelets. These are the special receptors which are present on surface. These special receptors are sensitive to ADH. These are sensitive to ADH. So these special receptors are inhibited by ADH dephosphatase. So because of this activation or inactivation of these receptors, they do not get bind to the endothelial cells, or they do not involve in synthesis of platelet plug formation. This is first mechanism. This is the first mechanism, and next coming the second mechanism, that is these healthy endothelial cells will release a special enzyme that is called heparin sulfate. They will release special enzyme that is called heparin sulfate. This heparin sulfate is the enzyme which is released from the healthy individual cells. Now, this heparin sulfate enzyme will create a platform for the anti-thrombin 3, that is anti-thrombin 3. They will create a special platform for the anti-thrombin. This heparin sulfate enzyme will create a platform for the anti-thrombin, so that this anti-thrombin will get attached to the surface of this heparin sulfate. They will get attached here. Now, what is the function of this anti-thrombin 3 is, it has many functions. Now, it will inhibit the synthesis of, it will inhibit the action of thrombin. It will inhibit the action of thrombin, and if the inhibition thrombin will get inhibited, they do not get converted into clot formations. So, and this is the first one, that is it will inhibit the action of thrombin, and second one, it will inhibit the factor number 9. It will inhibit the factor number 9, and in the same way it will inhibit the factor number 10, coagulating factor number 10. So in this way they get inactivated. This heparin sulfate is an enzyme which is produced from the endothelial cells, that are healthy endothelial cells, and will activate the antithrombin 3 factor, or that is antithrombin 3 enzyme protein. This antithrombin 3 enzyme will inactivate the thrombin and coagulating factor number 9 and coagulating factor number 10. So this is the second mechanism. Now, if we discuss next mechanism, that is third mechanism, they will release special type of structures that are called tissue plasminogen factor. These are released by the healthy endothelial cells. These are released by the healthy endothelial cells. Now, this tissue plasminogen factor will activate. It involves in conversion of two special structures, that is plasminogen. It involves in the conversion of this plasminogen into plasmin. It involves in plasmin. Now, these plasmin will activate another type of chemical, that is thromboxane. It will activate special protein, that is thromboxane. Now, this thromboxane which is released will show its special function, that is what this thromboxane will do means it will inhibit the action of coagulating factor 5. It will inhibit the action of coagulating factor 5 and it will inhibit the coagulation number 7. It will inhibit the action of coagulating factor number 7. So these two will get inhibited. So if these are get inhibited, so they do not get converted into platelets, or there is no platelet plug formations. And these are the three mechanisms. These are the three mechanisms in which there is no formation of solid substance. These three methods in which these platelets do not get attached to the surface of endothelial cells, there is no platelet plug formations, and this clotting factor, in these two mechanisms the clotting factors are get inactivated. So if clotting factors are inactivated, then there is no attachment of clotting factors, or there is no activation of clotting factors which involves in clot formations. So if there is no formation of clots, or if there is no formation of any semi-solid materials, so there is ultimately flow of blood will be in liquid forms. So this is about normal liquid form of blood which is present in our blood vessels. Now, if we discuss about any injury which is taking place in this area, how the platelet plugs are formed and how the coagulation method takes place means, now let us discuss that mechanism. Let us consider if there is any injury in this area. Now, there is injury in this area, this is a blood vessel, and if there is any injury in this area, that is endothelial layers will get ruptured. Now, what are the events that takes place in coagulation mechanism? Our topic is coagulation. Now, what are the events that takes place in this injured area? Now, in this injured area, this special area is get injured. Now, what are the events that takes place here means, these injured cells will release special chemical substance into this area. And here this is basement membrane. It is a basement membrane. Now, these special chemicals which are released from the injured endothelial cells are accumulated on surface of basement membrane. These are the special chemicals. These are the special chemicals which are released from the damaged endothelial cells. Now, these special endothelial cells, these special chemicals which are released from the endothelial cells have special hook-like structures. Have special hook-like structures so that it will attract the platelets to this area. Platelets will get attracted towards this area now through these hooks. Now, what are these special chemical substances which are produced from the damaged endothelial cells are called these are VW means von Willebrand proteins. Von Willebrand protein or von Willebrand in chemical. Von Willebrand chemical is the substance or chemical substance which is released from the injured endothelial cells. These are the injured endothelial cells. That is the first mechanism, that is in injured endothelial cells we release special chemicals that are called von Willebrand chemicals, and these are these are sticked to the basement membrane of these endothelial cells, and these are sticky in nature. So whenever these get sticked here, let us draw only one platelet. This is the only one platelet which is attracted, which is sticked to this area with special hook-like structures. So, this attachment of platelets to this von Willebrand receptors is called platelet adherence. It is called platelet adhesion. This is the first step, that is platelet adhesion. This first step, that is platelet adhesion, is the first step, that is platelet adherence. Now, whenever the platelet gets adhered, now there are special granules which are present inside of these platelets. Now these special granules will get activated. Now, what are the granules which are present in this arm? Let us consider these are the granules. They will be reached out. Now, what are the granules which are present in these platelets are? Let us consider this is one. Let us consider this is one platelet, and inside this platelet it consists of alpha receptors, alpha type receptors, and there is one more type of receptors that are called, this is sac-like structure, which is also called gamma type receptors, which are rigid in nature. It is sac-like structure, that is SAC. SAC. S for serotonin, A for ADH, and C for calcium. Now, what is the before the platelet adhesion, there is one more event that is takes place, that is vasoconstriction. If there is any injury which takes place in this area, these endothelial cells will release, injured endothelial cells will release special chemical, that is endothelin. This is special chemical which is released by the injured endothelial cells, that is called endothelin, which results in contraction of these endothelial cells so that the flow of the blood to this damaged endothelial cells will get decreased. So in this, if there is damage to this endothelial cells, there is no production of vasodilating agents like prostaglandins, nitric oxide and ADH, D-phosphatase, and only endothelin is released, that is vasoconstricting agent. So platelet adhesion is completed. Now after the platelets get adhered, let us consider this is one platelet and this is another platelet. In this way the platelets get adherent. Now after it get adherents, now there is special granules which are present in it that are called alpha granules and beta granules. Now this red color are called beta granules and these are alpha granules. These are alpha granules and these are beta granules, and these beta granules contains three types of chemicals, that is serotonin, ADH and calciums. So what is the function of this serotonin is, this serotonin is involved in contraction, vasoconstriction. Serotonin is involved in vasoconstriction. This ADH is involved in adhesion, platelet adhesion, and this calcium is involved in, what is the function of this calcium is, now let us discuss the function of calcium in further after some time. Now this is the function of this serotonin, that is involved in vasoconstriction, and ADH D-phosphatase is, it involves in platelet adhesion. Now these, with the help of platelet adhesion ADH D-phosphatase enzyme, more number of platelets will get adherent on surface of this area. More platelets will get accumulated in this area. Now this accumulation of more platelets on surface of this adherent platelets is called platelet aggregation. Second one is platelet aggregation. Now platelet, after the platelet aggregation, after platelet aggregation, now let us discuss the function of these calcium ions. Now as we know that there are coagulative proteins present in liver and which are synthesized from the liver, and these calcium proteins contains glycoprotein ends. Let us consider this is one coagulative factor and this is another coagulative factor. So this coagulative factor consists of glycoprotein chain, and here this another coagulative protein consists of another glycoprotein chain, Now the function of the calcium ions, what is the role of this calcium ions in this coagulation means, what is the function of this calcium ions in coagulation method means, the calcium will bind the glycoprotein chains of different coagulative proteins. What are coagulative proteins means? Coagulative proteins or coagulative factors are the inactive proteins which will react with each other and will get activated. Coagulative factors are the inactive proteins which will react with each other so that they will get activated. Now calcium will bind these protein chains. They will bind these protein chains together so that they come close to together and will get activated. It will get activated. Now calcium, the role of calcium is binding of coagulative factors. The binding of coagulative factors. In this way, the granules, that is beta granules, are involving. Now these alpha granules will contains coagulative factors, and it also contains thrombin stabilizing factor. Coagulative factors and thrombin stabilizing factors. So these are alpha granules are activated with the help of gamma granules with the help of calcium ions. So if these are after the platelet aggregation platelet aggregation, they will involve in synthesis of these same granules. Same granules will get activated so that more amount of platelets will get accumulated. More number of platelets will get accumulated. More amount of platelets will get accumulated. Now, whenever these platelets are, more amount of platelets are accumulated on platelet aggregated material. Now this structure is called primary platelet plug. That is third step, the formation of primary platelet plug. First one is platelet adhesion, second one is platelet aggregation, third one is formation of primary platelet plug. Now, after the formation of platelet plug, as we know that this coagulation method can be done by two methods. One is intrinsic pathway, while the other one is extrinsic pathway. Now, these which is formed, the primary platelet plug which is formed is not stable. Now, after this, it involves in two methods. That is, first one is intrinsic pathway, while the other one is extrinsic pathway. One is intrinsic pathway while other one is extrinsic pathway. So, what is the difference? Let us discuss the mechanism by using intrinsic pathway and extrinsic pathway. So here already the primary platelet plug will be formed. Now let us consider this is our liver and releasing coagulating factors into the blood, that is releasing coagulating factors into the blood. Now what is the most important and mandatory coagulative factor which is responsible for intrinsic pathway is, that is first one, it will activate the coagulative factor number 12. Coagulative factor number 12. Now this coagulative factor number 12, whenever it is coming towards this platelet plug formation, they will get activated. They will get activated, that is factor number 12. Now whenever this factor number 12 is activated, now this factor number 12 will activate another type of coagulating factor. Now this will activate another chemical factor. it will activate another chemical factor, that is it will activate coagulating factor number 11. Coagulating factor number 11. So after coagulating factor number 11 is activated, now this coagulating factor number 11 will activate another type of coagulative factor. Now what is that coagulative factor means? It will activate factor number 9. It will activate coagulative factor number 9. So first of all, the most important factor, that is coagulative factor number 12, is activated by using intrinsic pathway, and this coagulative 12 will activate coagulative factor number 11. Now this coagulative factor 11 will activate coagulative factor number 9. Now this coagulative factor 9, which is activated with the help of, now this coagulative factor number 9, which is activated with the help of phospholipids and coagulative factor number 8 and with the help of prostaglandins. This activated coagulative factor number 9 with the help of prostaglandins, with the help of phospholipids and activated coagulative factor number 8 and activated this is prostaglandins. Now with the help of these three substances, it will activate coagulative factor number 10. Coagulative factor number 10 will get activated. Coagulative factor 10 will get activated with the help of phospholipids and coagulative factor 8 and prostaglandins. Now this coagulative factor 10, which is activated, now it has special function that it will activate, it will show its action on prothrombin. Now this prothrombin which is present, this prothrombin with the help of coagulative factor number 10, this prothrombin will get converted into thrombin. It get converts into thrombin. Now the thrombin which is formed will be activating the fibrinogen. It will act on fibrinogen. Here the fibrinogen will get activated. Now after the activating of fibrinogen with the help of thrombin, now this fibrinogen with the help of thrombin will convert the fibrinogen into fibrin. It converts into fibrin. Now this fibrinogen which is converted into fibrin, this fibrin material will get attached, will get deposited on surface of primary platelet plug. Here they will get deposited in this area. They will get deposited in this area. Now it is not a complete stable platelet plug. Now if we discuss about intrinsic pathway, extrinsic pathway, the main role is played by coagulative factor number 12, but in case of extrinsic pathway, the main role is extrinsic pathway. These damaged endothelial cells will release special protein, that is tissue factor. It will release special protein, that is tissue factor. Now this tissue factor which is released from the damaged or injured endothelial cells, and they will activate special coagulating factor number 7. Coagulating factor number 7 will get activated. So in intrinsic pathway, coagulative factor number 12 is involved, and coagulative factor number 11 is involved, and 9 is involved, and 10 is involved. But in extrinsic pathway, only the main role is played by 7th coagulative factor. Now this 7th coagulating factor can activate these coagulating factor number 10. They can activate coagulating factor number 10. They can activate the coagulating factor number 10, or else they can activate the coagulating factor number 9. Now this coagulating factor 7 has two functions. One is, this is the first function, that is they may activate the coagulating factor number 10, so that the coagulating factor 10 will get activated and it will release prothrombin, and the prothrombin will get converted into thrombin, and this thrombin will activate fibrinogen, and this fibrinogen will convert fibrinogen into fibrin. So it forms this fibrin will get deposited on this area, or else it will, this is the second function, this first function, and this is the second function of factor number 7, and it will act on coagulating factor number 9, so that it will activate the coagulating factor number 10 with the help of phospholipids, coagulating factor 8 and prostaglandins, and will activate number 10, and prothrombin converts into thrombin, thrombin converts into fibrinogen, fibrinogen converts into fibrin. And in the same way, these injured cells will release special proteins that are called thrombin stabilizing factor. That is thrombin stabilizing factor. Now this thrombin stabilizing factor, which is released from the injured endothelial cells, this thrombin stabilizing factor can convert this fibrinogen into fibrin. So after converting it fibrinogen into fibrin with the help of thrombin stabilizing factor, now this fibrin will form cross links with this first formed area. It forms the cross links in this manner. So after forming of these cross links, then it is completely called as secondary platelet plug formation. Secondary platelet plug formation. So these are the important steps, that is platelet adhesion, platelet aggregation, primary platelet plug formation, secondary platelet plug formation. So this primary platelet plug is also called primary hemostatic plug. Primary hemostatic plug, and secondary platelet plug formation also called secondary hemostatic plug. Now what is thrombus means. If then before discussing about thrombus, after forming the secondary hemostatic plug, then the flow of blood from this will get decreased. It gets decreased, and so in this way the coagulation will be taking place, and this damaged cells will get converted into normal cells. So what is thrombus means, if the secondary hemostatic plug which is formed is within the cardiovascular system, then it is called thrombus. If the secondary platelet plug which is formed within the cardiovascular system, that is called thrombus. And there is another terminology that is called clot. What is clot? Clot is nothing but a secondary platelet plug which is formed outside of this cardiovascular system, that is called clot. This is a difference between a thrombin and clot. Thrombin is a secondary platelet plug within the cardiovascular system, but is clot is the formation of secondary platelet plug outside the cardiovascular system is called clot. So this, if we compare the duration of this intrinsic pathway and extrinsic pathway, this intrinsic pathway should activate to coagulative factor 12, then coagulative factor 11, and then coagulative factor 9 and coagulative factor 10, and prothrombin, thrombin, fibrinogen and fibrin. But these tissue factors which are released directly convert into factor number 7, and this factor 7 will activate either factor number 10 or factor number 11. So extrinsic pathway will consume less time when compared to the intrinsic pathway. In this way, after formation of secondary platelet plug formation, then there will be formation of clot like material, and they will stop the bleeding in this area, and then the injured endothelial cells will get converted into normal cells. This is about coagulation mechanism.